Hi, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have Samsung's Galaxy Buds FE and we're going to give it a full review. Let's get started. These headphones are Samsung's budget proposal for their fully wireless headphones, and I honestly think they are a complete hit as their price is not too high and they honestly give you everything you would need. Obviously, their Galaxy Buds Pro are going to have a bit more quality in all aspects, but honestly, that doesn't feel like a cheap product here. Its launch price in Mexico is 1,799 pesos. On the screen, you have the reference price in dollars so that you have more or less an idea, although remember that the prices here are not the same as there. Now that we know the price, what do you say you join me so we can learn absolutely everything about these headphones? Its case has a reflective plastic design, unlike current Samsung models that usually have a matte or satin design, so there we see a difference. In this case, it doesn't feel as advanced a design, but it has practically the same dimensions as all current Galaxy Buds cases. Also, we're going to find an indicator LED both on the outside and on the inside, so definitely, in this case, it doesn't sacrifice anything. The inner LED will give us information of the earbuds and the outer LED will give us information of the case. On the back, we'll find the USB-C port so we can charge our headphones. And where they have cut the budget will be in wireless charging because it is not present, unlike the more advanced models. So, perforce, you will need to charge by cable these headphones, but honestly, it is not something that I consider exaggeratedly annoying. Although in the price range, yes, there are several other headphones that have wireless charging, but Samsung makes this cut. If we open this case, we're going to find a completely similar design to what we see on other Galaxy Buds. And with respect to the magnetic absorption, notice how in this case, it's very difficult that these earbuds are going to fall out of the case. There it is. They have just enough magnetic absorption for a comfortable and safe transfer, but also to be able to remove them easily so it's not a headache. Now let's take a look at the design of the headphones because they have a tactile surface on this external part, which honestly, at first glance, looks like a button that you can press, but it's not. It's just a tactile interface. It should also be noted that it has a flap on this upper part so that it can be secured perfectly well to your ear and are not constantly falling. In fact, this flap is interchangeable, as other size flaps are included in the box in case you need a more comfortable grip. So you can put them on and take them off. Even also for cleaning issues, this can become much easier. As you can notice, these are closed design headphones, so they include these ear cushions. And in the box, they also include ear tips of different sizes so you can adjust the one you feel best in your ear. In this part are also placed two charging pins and its indicator letter to know if it is the left or right earphone. In addition, we have another microphone and a sensor so that it can detect when you put on or take off the headphones. This sensor is an important addition because in the price range there are other headphones that do not have it. But this microphone is not the only one it has. In fact, it has another microphone on the outside, one more microphone on the bottom. So that's 3 microphones in each headset, bringing the total to 6 microphones throughout the system. Each headphone weighs approximately 5.6 grams, but one point you should take into account is that they are only IPX2 certified. So let's say they could survive in some wet situations, but they don't really support splashing water. So, if you want to use them for exercise, you have to use them with a little more care. This will clearly be one of its weakest points against other headphones in the same price segment that do offer a higher level of protection against water. Let's move on to the controls available on these headphones. By default, it just gives us a simple tap on this touch surface to play or pause content, and we can press and hold on either of the left or right ear cups to change the noise controls. While being called, we can double tap to answer or end the call or press and hold to reject the incoming call. However, through the mobile app, it also allows us to customize the controls to enable 2-tap control to go to the next song or 3-tap control to go to the previous song. We can also change the behavior by holding down on these headphones in order to lower volume with the left headphone and raise volume with the right headphone, but we would have to sacrifice the noise controls. So, it's up to you as a user what you prefer. But it's definitely nice that it does allow us to customize our controls experience. Since we can even select that with any of the headphones we can call Bixby, or we can also immediately access our Spotify playback. In fact, to call Bixby, we do not need to forcibly configure any of the buttons, but we can also have voice activation. And in fact, through this voice assistant, you can also change the sound modes. So, you can tell it to activate the noise cancellation or to activate the ambient mode so you can hear what's going on around you. Overall, we could say that the controls are going to be very comprehensive because not only are you limited to the touch interface, but you also have the ability to control the headphones by voice. And not just controlling the hearing aids, but asking it for any kind of information or even taking actions regarding your cell phone or the Internet of Things. For example, I could turn on the air conditioning directly from the hearing aids. So I think it has very good capabilities, although you have to consider that if you have Bixby voice activation, it's going to consume more battery. So take that into consideration whether you're going to turn it on or off. In fact, also through the settings, you can set that you don't need to wait for Bixby's tone response to be able to give it a prompt. In this way, I could give it the indication to activate the noise cancellation mode as follows. Hi Bixby, enable noise cancellation. And it's already just enabled that feature without the need for me to pause a little bit between the voice command to call it and the instruction I want to give it. So, with respect to the controls, totally positive experience. Although it has to be said that it doesn't have the experimental control that the Galaxy Buds Pro does have, where you can tap it on the bottom to control the volume. That experimental feature is only available on the more expensive models. Let's talk now about the sound quality that these headphones can give us. And regarding the technical specifications of this part, Samsung does not disclose too much information, so we do not know specifically the size of the driver or anything like that. The only thing we know is that it is a one-way sound, unlike the more expensive models that come separately bass frequencies and treble frequencies. So, in this case, it's a slightly simpler experience, but it has good quality. In fact, if what matters most to you are the bass, you should know that they have a very good response. It will be up to you as a user how you are going to adjust the equalizer to know if the bass is going to be more or less present. But the good news is that they do have good response. That is, if you select in the equalizer that you want deep bass, it will be felt and heard in a very good way. But if you don't want them to be so present, you can reduce it anyway. Where I feel the most noticeable difference between these headphones and the more expensive models is in the definition of the treble. It doesn't feel as clear and crisp sounding as you might find in Samsung's more expensive headphones, but definitely that the experience is still very good. The truth is that I tested it not only on Samsung cell phones, but also on an iPhone and a Huawei cell phone, and in all three I had an excellent experience when listening to music. You should know that in Samsung cell phones that are modern will use the SSC codec, which is a codec that Samsung uses to have a good resolution sound, and it adapts, but these are not headphones that have advanced codecs for high-resolution audio on non-Samsung devices. So you are limited to AAC, which has a good quality anyway, but for the more demanding, this may fall short. Anyway, for devices of all types, even the most basic ones, we have the SBC codec. So in general terms, we could say that we do not have a very high-resolution audio, but it is an audio that will sound of good quality. Above all, we must consider that through the application we will have a customization of our sound, although it is not possible in a specific way band by band. But believe me, the changes between each of these settings are completely noticeable. Personally, the one I liked the most was the dynamic adjustment, but here it is simply a matter of taste. The positive thing is that the headphones do have a very good response to the EQ changes, confirming that they are good quality headphones. The active noise cancellation that these headphones have seems to me to be of good quality. You can definitely be in an environment with a lot of noise around you, and if you enable noise cancellation, you will practically disappear all that outside noise to focus and concentrate on the sound of your music. In addition, it does have an ambient mode that allows you to listen through the headphones with the built-in microphones. So in this aspect, the experience is completely good. Now next you are going to listen to the sound captured directly from the microphones of these headphones.
Esta es una prueba de sonido con los Galaxy Buds FE colocados en mis oídos.
Then you are going to listen to another similar test, but placing an ambient noise in the background so you can notice if the headphones are able to still perceive my voice.
Esta es una prueba de audio captado con los micrófonos de Galaxy Buds FE, teniendo ruido ambiental de fondo para notar si se está capturando la voz o no.
As you could notice, it seems that these headphones do not have noise cancellation for calls when it is picking up your voice, so that's another aspect where it's possibly not up to par with what you'd expect. Now let's talk about the battery. Although you know this aspect is always going to be heavily influenced by the type of user you are, but officially Samsung shares some figures that I think could represent the average user. Without noise cancellation on, these headphones should give you around 8.5 hours of playback at medium volume. With noise cancellation turned on, this time is reduced to 6 hours. This is without considering the charging case. If you consider the case, you can obviously recharge these headphones when you put them away, and therefore they could give you up to 30 hours of playback with noise cancellation off, or up to 21 hours of playback with noise cancellation on. I think the battery aspect of headphones usually doesn't cause us to suffer too much. I think you always have a good amount of time to put them on charge, and that's it. So it shouldn't pose any problems. Also, they don't seem to have fast charging and they don't have wireless charging either, which are other aspects where we notice that these are headphones with some budget cuts. Let's move on now to talk about connectivity, because these are headphones that feature Bluetooth, and obviously to connect to a Samsung device, you just need to uncover the case and they will automatically be detected. This will be the best connection, but they can still connect to cell phones of other brands. But if you are connected within the Galaxy ecosystem, you should know that you could even be connected to your tablet and your cell phone at the same time. And if you're watching a series on your tablet and a call comes in, you don't have to worry because you can automatically answer it on your cell phone, and without the need to change settings or anything else, the headphones will switch devices. That's one of the advantages of being within the Galaxy ecosystem, so the connection really gets to be very good. With respect to latency, on videos it's going to be perfectly synchronized on the vast majority of devices, although this may vary depending on your cell phone, but it should work fine on practically all of them. And with respect to latency in games, fortunately through the application you can enable a game mode that will make the latency be reduced to the minimum possible, but this again is going to vary depending on what cell phone you connect it to. Obviously, if you connect it to a high-end cell phone, the latency will be greatly reduced, although not yet to the same level that we could find in fully wired headphones. On the other hand, if you connect it to mid-range or low-end devices, the latency is likely to be a bit higher. But either way, it is appreciated that there is a way to try to reduce latency to the minimum possible. The latency is considerably low in this model, although I repeat, we are dealing with a premium range device. And finally, let's take a quick look at the application where we have the noise control that I mentioned. We can also change the controls, and in the headphone settings, we can change the equalization. We can also run a test to have the best possible cushion to have the best isolation. Also, the headphones are able to read aloud notifications to you from the apps you have selected. This is something uncommon in other earbuds, so it is another of the strengths and highlights of these Galaxy Buds. We also have the Bixby voice activation settings. We can also select if we want an ambient sound when making calls so we don't feel completely isolated. We can also select whether or not you want the headphones to be detected so that when you remove them from your ears, the content you are listening to is paused. We can also make the easy connection with headphones. This if you have other Galaxy devices with the same Samsung account. Within the lab section is only the setting of the games mode that we already use at the moment. And finally, we can reset the headphones or access accessibility settings, which is another of the highlighted sections, because most headphones from other brands do not include this section to improve the hearing of some people. Finally, you should know that hearing aids are capable of receiving software updates, so some things might change in the future, for better or worse. Also remember that you can locate your hearing aids with the SmartThings Find app, which will show up on some map. So not only is it going to ring your hearing aids, but it's also going to be able to locate them within a map. So for the time being, this has been all regarding these headphones. Let me know in the comments your impressions. From my point of view, being Samsung headphones, which gives you very good capabilities and software features, it is a considerably good alternative for this price. However, you will find other headphones that if you want to focus more on sound or other aspects, they could be better. It is up to you as a user what you are going to give more priority to, as other headphones do not have as many features as these. For the moment, we have reached the end of this video. If you liked it, you know you can tell us about it. See you next time.